Hello guys, welcome back. In the last lecture, we saw how to use shared example method of rspec for refactoring specs and reusing common examples at multiple places. And now we have to work on writing specs for stimulating the user search. But before stimulating the user search, we need to learn one more thing, and that is how to use factory.gem to create active record objects in our specs. And I want to take you through this part before writing specs for stimulating the user search, because to search users we need few user records to test. So rather than invoking user.create query in our spec examples, we will use factories to do this for us. Okay, and we will also remove the user.create query from our login spec. So here you can see that what we did right now, that we are creating this user by writing create query in this spec. Okay, and in this lecture we will see how to use factories to initialize or create objects, user model objects or any model objects. Okay, so let's dive into using the factory. So first go to the terminal and generate the model spec for users. So switch to the terminal and open a new terminal tab, and here we need to run the command to generate the model spec for users. Okay, and why? Because I want to remind you one thing, that we already set up the rspec and factory board. So whenever you will generate your model spec using rspec command line, it will automatically create the factory for you as well. Okay, so let's run the command. So rails g rspec model and then user. Okay, and when you run this command, you will see that it has created two files, one in spec models as user spec.rb and other is spec factories users.rb. Okay, and here you need to notice one thing, that whenever you generate your model spec, a factory will be created as plural class name. Okay, so here you can see model name is user spec.rb and the factory name is users.rb. Okay, now go to the project, I mean into the project directory in some text editor, and here you can see that we have this factory class and this is the user.rb, and here you can see the syntax of working with factory. So here you can see factory define do and then factory, and this is how you want to initialize your users. Okay, if you want to create user with other name, like let's say admin user, guest user or pro user, then you need to define factory colon pro user, admin user and so on. Okay, now since this factory is empty, so we need to provide column names here from the user model. Okay, so what we can do, that if you remember, we are running the user.create query within the loop in seeds file. So go to the db directory and open the seeds file. Okay, and in the seeds file you can see that this is the user create query we are running. So we just need to copy all the attributes from here. Okay, just copy only attributes, not the user dot create. Okay, and now open the users factory. Okay, so go to the spec again and open this users.rb, and here you need to paste all these attributes. Okay, and then correct this indentation, and now we need to correct some syntax. So you can remove all these commas from here. So select all the commas because we don't need that. Okay, and then you need to keep everything within the hash, I mean the curly braces, sorry. Okay, and then remove the comma here as well. Okay, so here you can see. So now what we can do, we can place all the attribute values in the curly bracket. Okay, this is the standard factory syntax. Okay, place the curly brace here as well, and now here you can see, since we in the loop we were running this query within the loop, so we are using I here. Okay, and here you can see that we are iterating the I within the loop. Okay, now we need to remove this, and instead what we can do, I rather than I plus 10 we can use rand, and then let's say 1 to 1000. Okay, and then add this email into the curly braces as well. Sorry, even let's copy all the faker things and place the curly braces here. Remove this curly brace. Oh sorry, I made this mistake. So you can just keep this one. Select everything, provide the curly brace here, and remove this comma from the end. Okay, and now you need to do place this dates as well in the curly braces. User dot profile title in the curly braces as well. Okay, and remove the comma from here. Okay, and password in the curly braces as well. Remove comma, and now curly braces in for the about. Okay, and here you need to add one more attribute, that is confirmed at. Okay, because we activated the confirmable module, so user will not be able to see other users. I mean, user will not be able to get sign in unless they confirm their account. So we will manually confirm their account here. So confirmed at, and then date time dot now. Okay, and save it, and also place this within the curly braces. Okay, and now save it. So this is all about the factory. This is how you can define your model attributes within a factory. So now whenever you call this factory with this username or this user method, it will create a user with all these attributes. Okay, so here the first name will from the faker, last name from faker, and so all the dummy data. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to use this factory within the spec. So you can open the login spec, open this login spec, and here you can see what we are doing, that we are creating user through user.create query. So we can remove this. Let's remove it. Remove all the blanks, empty lines from here. And now before the it block, we need to define our user. So we will use the let keyword, let, and then user, and then we need to call our factory as create user. Okay, to create we need to call the create function, and if you just want to initialize like you do on the user.new, then you need to use user.build. Okay, so here you can see what we did, let user create comma colon user. Okay, so it will create user with all the attributes you provided here. Okay, now if you want to customize any value, other value, like let's say for example if you want to create user with some specific country, then you can provide your attribute along with its value from here. Like here you can see like country as India. Okay, so now whenever you call the factory, it will create a user and place the country as India, and it will override this value that we are providing it as faker address country. Okay, so if you call this way, it will always provide the country India. But for now, login in the user, we just need the user. We can choose the default country, so we can skip that. Okay, and here one can think that why I mentioned that we need to place this let outside the it block. So you, in our spec, you cannot use let keyword within the it block. Okay, because it is not it will not work. You can only use let outside the examples or in some example groups. Okay, they are not usable, they are not definable within the examples. Okay, so now we remove the user query and we set up the factory as well here. Okay, and we define let user create user. So now it's time to test whether this thing is working or not. Okay, so you can just save everything, make sure save everything wherever you make changes. Now come to the terminal and we need to run our spec. So bundle exec rspec spec features and login spec.rb. When you run this spec, okay, so there is some error. I forget some comma to be removed from here. Okay, so let's remove this comma after the about. Okay, now save it and run the spec again. Oh, I forget this colon as well. Now just run the spec again, and you will see that this time your spec will get work and pass. Okay, so you can see two examples, zero failure, and this time we used our factory to create the user object. Okay, now let me show you that what happened if you place let inside the it block. So place the let keyword, I mean let user inside the it block, and then save the spec and run the spec. Now you will see that your spec will get broken, and here you can see the error message that let is not available from within an example. Okay, or from construct that run in the scope of an example. You, it is only available on an example group like describe or context block. Okay, or we can also provide it in the above the shared examples as well. Okay, so when you place it over the it block and run the spec again, you will see your spec will get pass again. Okay, so this is how we can use our factories to create the model objects and for with the dummy data. Okay, and that's all from this lecture. Now in the next lecture we will stimulate the user search feature by creating multiple user records using this factory. So try this lecture at your end, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care. Stay safe.